So, good morning, everybody. And sadly, we lost two more Albany County residents. Both women with underlying health conditions were in their 80s at St. Peter's Nursing and Rehabilitation Center. To the 126 people that we lost through this COVID-19, my heart, prayers, condolences go out to your family. To the two new families, it's difficult times. And, it's difficult to go through this, but again, my prayers and thoughts are with your family, and we're here for you. One passed away on July 28th, and the other one passed away on July 31st. We were just notified of that yesterday. So as of today, we have 2,310 positive cases of the COVID-19, 575 people under mandatory quarantine. We have a total increase of 6 positive cases since yesterday. We know 2 are healthcare workers, and then we have 1 person who reported traveling out of the state. 2 had close contact to a positive case, and 1 doesn't have a clear source of infection. That brings us to 31 active cases, which is good. We were peaking up, now we're going back down, which is all good stuff. So again, we have 7,557 people that have completed quarantine. 2,279 tested positive for the virus have recovered. That's an increase of 8, which is also good stuff. Some of the really good stuff, we have 2 people in the hospital, which isn't good that they're in the hospital, but compared to what the hospitalization rate was a couple months ago to where it's at now, that's good. And a hospitalization rate of 0.8%. who have tested positive, and the rate was 0.4, so that's gone up a little bit. I can't explain it. We've talked to doctors. I know Dr. Whalen and I, we reached out. We're lucky that our hospitalization rate is staying where it's at compared to where we were almost 6 months ago. And that's what I want to remind people. 6 months ago, it was affecting people differently. Why is it not now? I can't explain it to you. And to the person that was really giving me a hard time, no, this isn't going to go away November 3rd. It's not a Democratic stunt. It took me a second when he said November 3rd, and I'm like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, no, it's not. It's not a political ploy. But I hear you, and I'm glad people aren't going into the hospital. I'm glad people aren't in the ICU, and I'm very happy that people aren't being intubated. But it doesn't mean it's not there and it's not going to affect people differently. It doesn't mean we're not going to get a second wave. I'm not trying to fearmonger. I'm not trying, Dr. Whalen and I have one job, to put it out there, put out the information we know. No, I don't pretend to be a doctor. No, I'm not pretending to be an expert. I'm just telling you the information that I share across this nation, across this state, with other people that are living through this, to deal with it, to go forward. So please, like I said, let's be part of the solution, not part of the problem. It's easy to point fingers. It's easy to be the Monday morning quarterback, but let's get through this as great New Yorkers, like we do here in the capital region. Working together, we'll get through this. That's what makes us strong. So please, by all means, be part of the solution, not part of the problem. The last 5 days, the average has been 8.2 positive cases. It was 8.6 the last go around, so that slightly it's gone down. The governor has said this time and time again, please go and get tested. Whether you have it or not, yes, when I get to the smart board, we'll talk about the 20 and 29-year-olds. Please, we're encouraging that. And it's not that we're trying to keep the numbers up, but it shows you, like Hudson Ave, what happened there and how that continued to affect, that ripple effect that continue to have. It's the same thing. If you don't get tested because you don't have signs or symptoms, we're never going to know. And we need to know for the statistics going further into the future. So please go and get tested. The Albany testing site, 1-888-364-3065. Our mobile testing sites, in conjunction with Whitney Young, please, we've said this, Dr. Whalen and I've said this before, please go out and get tested, because that's going to help us in the future going out. It's going to help us to establish these underlying issues that we have in certain communities, to really help us focus studying and looking at resources into the future, as well as we've been doing now through the equity agenda the last 8 years of dealing with these issues, so we can help the community move forward. Again, Rite Aid in Colony has been established. Please go to the website. You can get on there and make an appointment. Priority 1 in Gilderland, as always, the antibody testing, area code 518-867-8040. Please call there to make an appointment. And listen, it's just the 4 basic steps. Wear your mask right, cough into your arm. Clean your hands and keep 6 feet apart. Pretty simple, right? Pretty easy. We can do this if we continue to work that to go forward. You have to make sure you're wearing your face covering correctly over your nose. Dr. Whalen will show you again. She's done a great job in making that point, and I can't thank her enough. But we all have to be reminded, because I still go out and about and you see people with it under their nose above, but not wearing it correctly under their chin. I walked into a place yesterday, someone walked out without a mask on. Again, it's about the confrontation, and some people just aren't going to comply. I say this to you, don't go into a store, because it's not about you, it's about the workers. This is about the workers. It's not about you saying, hey, I'm making a point. And, I didn't want to say anything to the person. They just stared at me, and I had the mask that said county executive across. So I was just staring at them. I'm like, come on. It's not about you. It's about that worker inside that store. It's about the person that wants to go home safe to their family at the end of the day. It's about the person that wants to go home to their loved one or their kids and not infect them, that has to put food on the table, pay the rent, pay the mortgage, So please, think of them. It's not about you. The data we're seeing for Albany County continues to improve. The percentage of positives of those tested continue to drop down to 3.27%. The number was 3.4 a week ago. It's so slowly it's going down, which is a good thing, as always. And again, I continued and I identified this, I feel like months ago. It was probably in that neighborhood. The 20 to 29-year-olds, as of yesterday, they're up to 480 positive cases amongst that age group. It's up, that's up from 451 last week. I think it's up about almost 50 since last week, since the last time we talked about it. And the group, which is the second highest positive case, is still 50 to 59. That's an increase of 9 since last week. So I just want to go to the smart board and talk about it before I let the expert, Dr. Whalen, get on top of everything. But as you see our cases, and it's just the one thing that I just caught on early on is the 480. It is alarming. And again, I'm not fair-mongering. I know that there's people out there who are mad about the sports travel, basketball, and all that keep getting you on. I know who you are. I know why you're mad at me. But it's to protect you. And I know kids want to be kids. But even even at the 10 to 19, 151 cases, and imagine if that gets tested more. And as these kids, the governor's making a decision whether or not to go back to school in the fall, this is going to affect it, this data here. And you're going to see what happened at, the daycare. You're going to see what happens at other places about the infection if people don't do the right thing and continue to get tested. So please, to the parents, it's just to protect everybody moving forward. Dr. Whalen will get into that. And yes, there's about 320,000 people in this county with the next census. I'm hoping it's going to be about 320, not 305. But again, yes, total people tested, 77,000. Total test positive, 2,531. And, it's a positive result of 3.27. All good stuff. And I know people saying that, we just want more people to test to get the numbers up. That's not the fact. The fact is, we're trying to figure out how far it is, and with kids going back to school, how do you open up? And this is what I say to the businesses. How do we put people back? We don't have 100% of the workforce back yet here in Albany County, 6 months later. How do I put them back, and then kids go to school, and then the school shuts down? What are they going to do for daycare? And I know they're going to work it out 1 through 5th. I was talking to a parent yesterday. I forget what high school in Colony. Not Shaker, right? Shaker, I think. Their kid's going to go to school at 1 o'clock. She's like, how am I going to get my kid to school at 1 o'clock? The way they're breaking up the schedule. So, again, you look at how they're going to handle this, and every other day, kids are going to go to school and they're going to be off. Well, where do the kids go for the days that they're off? And that's going to be an issue. But and then there's the parents that don't want to go back, and teachers that don't want to be back in the classroom. That Zoom will really work to keep social distancing if it's worked out correctly and move into the future. And again, we have to reimagine, and it's tough enough dealing with kids to reimagine this. And I know elementary and the school district's going to go to school, and I think school 19, I was talking to some parents, and then they're going to bus them elsewhere, something with the 6th grade. And now they're like, well, my kid's going to be on a bus, and what's that mean? I'm like, they're going to do it. They're going to do. The superintendent, I had her on here. She's going to do a great job. They're trying their best. And again, if I'll say to the parents or to the people out there, you got a better idea, bring it up. You got an idea how to fix it, bring it up. I know the governor and them are going to make their recommendations by the end of this week, whether or not schools can open up or whether or not the plans for the schools are going to go forward. And you'll probably see some changing in that and readjustment as we move forward. But Dr. Whalen.
Thanks, County Executive McCoy. So looking at our numbers on the smart board and our database for live stories, I always like to start with this curve. This goes back to our first case, which was March 12th, and shows the trajectory of cases. It appears that we peaked at the end of April, and then we started to worry again in July about seeing more cases. We are starting to see that number trend down, but we continue to follow it very actively, and of course considerations around going back to school and other events that are bringing people together make us look very closely at where this will go. In terms of looking at the total positive cases by zip code, we continue to see the focus of cases to mostly impact around the city itself, with the zip code of 12203 being the highest zip code. If I single in on that, it's 334 out of our total cases to date. And as we speak of every time, this group of age 20 to 29 is the group that we are concerned about in terms of spread and in terms of potential for more infection. Looking at gender, we see females are slightly more impacted than males, and looking by race and ethnicity, we see 49% of our cases are white, 23 are Black or African American, 8% Asian or Pacific Islander, 8% Hispanic, and we do have other or unknown up to 12%. Sometimes this is something people are asked to fill out when they take a test, and people can check the boxes, and sometimes they either don't want to declare or they declare other. Looking at what we have based on the data that has been collected, we continue to see that looking at the ever hospitalized data, it is disproportionate to the amount of the population for the Black and African American community. Of the county demographics, 11.4 identify as Black or African American, and this is 26% of our hospitalizations and 30% of our ICU stays. So we know that COVID continues to disproportionately, severely affect minorities, and this is something that we continue to track, monitor, realize the importance of appropriate education, and try to learn more, in terms of the science of COVID going forward. We've done a great job in Albany County with testing from the beginning, and I put that down to the county executives' tireless advocacy for getting testing from the state DOH and for community partnerships. So we've done a good job with testing. And our percent positives, this is the total number over the whole time, is about 3.27%. This is not the percent that's looked at to go back to school. That's the daily percent, and our daily percent is much lower than 3.27%. Looking at the state database, when we look at Albany County, we see for daily trends, again, we are doing a very good job with the number of people that are testing. We're still testing between, this line right here is 600 people per day, and we're seeing very low numbers of positives. So all told, we continue to stress the importance of the personal measures that people can take to control the spread of COVID-19. And when we identify cases, particularly cases that may be a high-risk environment, we're working very closely with the facilities and with the State Department of Health to ensure that we are isolating those that have been identified as having COVID and quarantining those that are in close contact. Quarantined individuals are recommended for testing, and I can happily say we're doing a good job with that too. What this does is stem infection where we have it and prevents us from having larger scale outbreaks. So we take smaller either clusters of illness or sometimes a single case and make recommendations. Overwhelmingly, we have had positive responses from whether it's a business or a daycare or the schools that we have interacted with. People are very interested in working with us and doing the right thing to make sure people are tested. People in the public are coming forward to get their tests when they are recommended, and this is a good thing. But we really need to continue to target that 20 to 29 age group. That was the one investigation where we would call people and they say, yeah, I knew people at the party, but I'm not telling you who was there. We simply don't get those kind of responses when we call about schools or we call about businesses. So again, for that age group, please remember that your contacts are important for us to be aware of. Nobody's getting in trouble here. But we want to make sure that we can control this, and in controlling it, protect your loved ones, including those that you may know that are elderly or vulnerable. And again, to reinforce, just because you're young and healthy does not mean you cannot have a severe case of COVID-19. So please ensure that you're doing what you can to protect your health. Thanks.
Thank you, Liza. As always, it's been a great partnership these last 6 months. So I kind of want to switch up a little bit, switch gears a little bit, and I have Chairman Andrew Joyce here with me from the Albany County Legislature. And, these are difficult times, not just because of the health epidemic that we're in, into the financial crisis that we're in, to the gun violence and everything else going on in the city of Albany and around the Capital District. So, and again, working with Mayor Sheen and trying to go forward on a variety of things. It's sadly what's been going on with this gun violence all summer long. And when I talked about it about a month ago and said that I wanted to do something, challenge the community leaders, the people that live there, to give us some examples or ideas that we can do to change some of the programs that we already run, and we run a lot of programs in the city, but how we can do things differently. Talked to Sheriff Apple, who was 100% on board putting people in there, and for the first time in 8.5 years, I said, yeah, I'm not going to fight you over how much money it's going to cost, because that's always the $1 million argument that him and I have, is over how much something's going to cost. So again, it's about protecting the people and trying to come up with solutions. So working with Chairman Joyce and other legislators, like Barraro and Gary Demolowitz and Bill Rickard and Gil Ethier and a variety of them from Waterville. We started in Cohoes. We went through Waterville in the town of Bethlehem we're going into, but working with the chairman's office, we're going into the city of Albany, and we're here to announce a few great programs, and then I'm going to turn it over to Andrew to talk about a few. But again, it takes a partnership, and we need to work together in these difficult times. And I say this all the time. I go, look, there's no time for egos. There's no time who's the bigger person in the room. It's time to leave that stuff at the door and work for the people and roll up your sleeves. And the only way we're going to do that is continue to agree, and we can agree to disagree on topics, but we need to move forward and put our best foot forward for the people that we represent, because it is about the people we represent. So I do thank Andrew Joyce, Chairman of the Albany County Legislature, being here with me to announce the 5 great summer youth programs that are starting soon. 2 of the programs, Jamal Hood's House of Hoops is one of them. The other one, Just Be Ready, are the basketball skills and drills programs that include mentorship and aspect for at-risk youth. So 2 great programs that will be kicking off. The third one I'll be announcing is it's run by Church of St. Vincent de Paul. And one of the program's going to focus on is character development, supporting your community in light of the Black Lives Matter movement and the recent gun violence. Also have physical fitness. They're going to have outdoor games, yoga, as well as meditation, and much, much more. So I do want to thank the legislators I've been working with in the city, but I do want to especially thank the chairman's office, because doing this helps us get together. Same thing with the summer youth internship program that we set up with the Girls and Boys Club, the Capital Region area, and the YMCA. Also today at 1300, I'll be 1 o'clock for regular people. I'm not going to give 1300 a shout. Zero Youth Detention Task Force, which is chaired by Dr. Alice Green, who leads the Center for Law and Justice, to discuss new ways to address youth gun violence in Albany County. I want to thank Dr. Green and M. I know it's been tough for the last 6 months trying to get this committee together, which we put together the first of the year. So I look forward to kicking that off today and really discussing things that we can do to change. Because what happens in the city of Albany affects the whole Albany County. We're all in this together, and trust me when I say what happens in downtown Albany is felt up in the hill towns, or it's felt on the river communities, or in Colony or Gilliland, because again, it does affect everybody. So we need to figure this out. We need to work together. That's one of the things Andrew and I have talked about is coming together for the city, because people need to feel safe walking out of here. It's tough when you talk to county employees that don't want to go out for lunch or coffee, or just don't even want to stand outside the building, or afraid to go from the parking garage to the building. City of Albany is safe. I know there's stuff going on, but trust me, we're in this together. So, Chairman Joyce.
Well, before we get started, since we're funding some really good basketball programs, I do challenge you, Dan Levy and Daryl, to a game of horse over at the Frank Chapman Memorial Institute to kick that off. We'll do that in the coming weeks or months. I'll go ahead and get warmed up. Before we talk about some of the programs that we are funding through the legislature in partnership with the county executive, I do want to thank Dr. Whalen and the county executive for their leadership and everything they've done over the past couple of months in response to COVID. When Dr. Whalen came in, I told her I'm a bit starstruck because you've done such a wonderful job. And on behalf of the legislature, I think it's a common theme, it's a common narrative that we would stack Albany County's operation up against anywhere else in the country. From the initial information gathering and the informational output that went on, to the aggressive testing, if you look, that hasn't been done anywhere else, to the contact tracing, to all the work being done in the Department of Health, County Executive's office. It's been amazing. And I think when we do beat COVID, and we will beat COVID, a number of years from now, we can look back and I'll think about what we've done. And I think these two individuals to my left can really hang their hats and say, we stepped up, and this is what public service is all about. So I thank you for your service, and thank you for all you've done. We're really proud. But part of the discussion in response to the pandemic, how do we get things back started up in the county? How do we do things the way we've normally done them, for the people that we're supposed to serve, and that's the youth? How do we do it safely? So we came into reopening, and we looked at some of the programming that we've done in the past. The county has always been really good at doing youth programming. And in the legislature, we've administered a youth internship program for the past number of years. It's been very popular. We do put youth in the departments to do, some tasks here and there. We couldn't implement it in the way that we'd always done it in the past because we can't get interns into the department. So we had to kind of reimagine how we did it in response to the pandemic. And I think some of the issues that we've seen in the city and throughout violence and kind of like the coming out of the pandemic, that accelerated the discussion in terms of what we do for youth programming and youth employment. But I think I speak for the county executive, I speak for the members of the legislature when I say, kids just need programming. And we just need to get to work and figuring out how we do it. Whether you live in the city of Albany, whether you live in Latham or the Hill Towns, kids want to play basketball, they want to do programming, they want to have jobs. So that's kind of what we kind of came together, and we brainstormed and we figured out some good ideas to do it. As the county executive had mentioned before, we challenged the community to come up with plans and ideas how to safely implement programming for kids in the pandemic, and we had some really good ideas. The county executive spoke about a few of them before. The legislature committed $15,000 last year to the budget, to talk about doing programming. And in hindsight, I think it was a great idea that we did that when we worked out the budget, that we put that together. So that funding was there for us to go ahead and introduce an accelerated plan for youth programming in the city. So the county executive had mentioned a few before. We're going to go ahead and enjoy the Hood's House of Hoops at the Chapman Memorial Institute and do a game of horse. But we went ahead and funded 2 additional programs because we were able to. And these are really special, and we're glad that we had funding available to do them. One of the programs is Our Art Class. It's for our program. And our art class serves at-risk and high-risk communities in Arbor Hill and has been contracted by the Albany City School District to facilitate socio-emotional trauma-informed care workshops to youth and families. And they do this by enhancing recreational activities for 35 youth under the age of 21 years from marginalized areas of the county by teaching art as a form of expression. They implement boxing classes to constructively channel emotions, use gardening as a positive hobby and nutritional education, and through social-emotional training to teach participants how to express the life trauma they've experienced. And we've also committed to the Urban Leadership Summer Teen Internship Program at the Boys and Girls Club. It's a brainchild of our Deputy Chair, Wanda Willingham, and we'll be talking more about that as the days go on. And the Boys and Girls Club of the Capital Area will use funding to provide an Urban Leadership Summer Teen Internship Program, a 5-week program that combines academic, performing arts, and recreational activities to give students a well-rounded, enriching summer. And they do this by providing an estimated 20 young people, aged 13 to 18, a safe, supportive, and non-competitive environment in which through participation, young people can develop strong self-esteem, self-confidences, and valuable life skills through discussions and activities on topics like leadership and character development, professional and career development workshops, computer literacy courses, and performing arts. That's 2 incredible programs, and we're really proud to be able to provide funding for them. And again, I thank you, for your help in implementing them, and we'll keep the discussion going as we move forward, as we kind of see our way through this crisis. We're talking more about these programs and how they work, and the discussion will continue, how we continue to help the community get through this. So thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. And to all the legislators that have rolled up their sleeves in the city of Albany and around the county. And I can't thank you enough. And to the discussions I've had with Frank Marinello and a variety of other ones over the budget. And we're at a crossroads, but we need to get through it working together, not against each other, regardless of party affiliation, regardless of what you believe in. We're going to get through this, and we'll get through it working together as one. So, again, a lot of great things, initiatives we're trying. I don't want to speak for Andrew, but I can almost assure you at this statement I'm going to make that we're not afraid to make mistakes and try something different and for it to fail. We hope that it has success in the community, but if not, we'll readjust. We'll find some programs that will work if these ones don't work. And again, I will put that challenge out there again to the city residents in the Arbor Hill community and the lower wards. Please reach out to us, come up with some ideas what you think will work in your community if our programs aren't working that we already put into the different areas. But I also will challenge someone in that community to step up to be the voice of that community and help us make the change that we need together so we can move forward and stop this gun violence. So again, thank you to Andrew Joyce, Chairman of the Legislature, and all the legislators, and especially Baroa, who's been doing a great job, him and Chief in the city. I enjoy watching them on Facebook, them 2 guys. They're constantly doing stuff in the community, so thank you for what you're doing. Also, I just wanted to talk about Week 12 of the Albany County Stay Safe Teen Challenge in conjunction with AT&T and PAL. It's been huge. It's actually growing. We're getting more and more kids to participate. So, again, I will say this to my daughter. You can't win because you're my daughter, so that's you can send them that all you want, but it's not going to happen. So, again, this week's theme is coordinating your mask with your clothes, right? So matching that up, which, hey, give me some suggestions because I could use it. So if anyone does this, please put it online. Go to the Teen Challenge. As always, go to hashtag Albany County Stay Safe. By Saturday, by midnight, you have a chance to win a $25 gift card to local businesses. So please do it. Also, week 11, we learned some new hobbies during the quarantine. They turned into artists. Congratulations to everyone, to the winners, and to your art projects and the stuff that you're doing. So it's always kind of neat to see. And it's interesting because, we always say your foundation is you need arts and you need music, right? And to see more and more kids find that side, it's going to be interesting how many continue career in this because there is a lot of neat things I've seen online about these kids, doing paintings and sketching and different things. So it's pretty cool. So that you found some time and utilized it correctly. Again, I want to mention the mental health support available 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The number is 518-269-6634. Our 24-hour sexual assault hotline number, as always, 518-447-7716. The 211 for United Way and the New York State hotline, as always. Thank you again. Stay safe. Do the right thing out there, and we'll get through this.